those moments do not have the power to hurt me anymore. I do not miss mania. Hey guys, it's Lizzie. So it has been 5 years since my bipolar diagnosis, and at the time in 2016, I felt overwhelmed, cried almost every day, and felt so alone. And even now, if I think back to those memories, I could start crying of empathy, thinking of how much trauma my younger self was going through. The first year of my diagnosis, I had so many horrible symptoms. I was failing out of college, I couldn't work, and I felt like the pain was completely meaningless. I thought that part of me would always be broken and that I wouldn't have peace or stability for the rest of my life. I felt like God had completely turned his back on me, and I believed that nothing good could come out of something so wounding. Over the next couple years, I would completely go off my meds every 6 months. When I was seeing a psychiatrist, every single appointment, we were changing one of my medications, and it was so frustrating because nothing seemed to be working. There were so many uncertainties, and I was so scared for my future. Someone emailed me yesterday and said a video I made in 2016 called 10 Things No One Tells You About Bipolar Disorder. She said it was so validating and made her feel understood and loved and at peace amidst the chaos.
Terrifying, hell, awful. It is okay if you feel so pessimistic, negative about being bipolar. How idealistic, deluded, ignorant can you be to think it is that simple?
I said at the beginning,
I watch other YouTubers' videos about bipolar, and it is like this grand disillusionment for me, how positive and chill and like, oh, it's normal, oh, like your life is the same. And maybe in like 5 years, I'll be making a video like that. But what I also think we need on YouTube is raw, broken, in the moment, panicked, emotional reactions to being newly diagnosed as bipolar.
Like I said in the video, 5 years later, maybe I would be making a video saying that it is okay and it gets better, so much better. So this video is also 10 things of how life completely changes years into your bipolar diagnosis. Number 1, I don't cry every day. I don't cry myself to sleep anymore. Probably for over a year, every single day I was sobbing, thinking of my experience in depression and how I felt like I'd completely lost my identity by being on meds. And now I will go months without crying. I can't even remember the last time I cried because I truly do not feel broken or scarred, and I don't have those traumatic memories at the forefront of my mind anymore at all. I can say with so much confidence and certainty that I am completely healed and I feel whole. Yes, if I read back journal entries or look at pictures or listen to songs I was listening to when I was going through depression and the manic burst and that first year of my diagnosis, I probably could tear up and lightly cry thinking about what happened. But the reality is that so much time has gone by that those moments do not have the power to hurt me anymore. Number 2, I've forgiven God and I completely trust him. I'll link below an article on my blog if you don't understand what I mean by forgiving God. I go through it in so much depth, but I'm sure so many people with bipolar and depression can relate to it. It's this intensive betrayal when God lets you be emotionally and mentally tortured for so long. That's something that you cannot just get over or snap out of. If God is in control and he loves us, the fact that he allows us to go through so much pain and so much trauma, that's something where you need to emotionally forgive God for allowing you to go through that. I thought that for so long my relationship with God would just be going through motions and not have that intimacy and rawness in it, but in less than 2 years, all of that trust came back. And now, looking back, I do believe that there is spiritual meaning within all of that pain. Number 3, I'm no longer constantly changing my bipolar medication. I remember in the fall of 2017 and 2018, I was consistently seeing this one psychiatrist for 8 months, and every single appointment was so stressful because I was like, this isn't working, this isn't working. These are all of my breakthrough symptoms. I'm sleeping for this amount of time. I feel manic in this way. I just had so many symptoms in every single appointment. We were adding on a different medication or upping the dosage, and it was just, those appointments were so stressful. And now, 5 years later, my psychiatrist appointments are so boring. They last 3 minutes. And my psychiatrist is like,
so how are you doing?
and I'm like, great, everything's perfect. The meds are working great. And she's like,
Okay, I'll send it to the pharmacy. See you next month.
and the coolest part is it's not even next month. I see my psychiatrist every 3 months because the treatment plan is going so well and there's no reason to meet up every month. I'm sure over the next few decades, I am going to have to change up my medication because the illness does change the way it's manifesting throughout your life. But it's not at all a thing where month to month, I'm constantly changing the medications. Number 4, knowing people who are bipolar. So one of the hardest things right when I was diagnosed is I did not know anyone who had bipolar disorder. I didn't know any YouTubers who had bipolar. I didn't have any acquaintances, relatives, literally no one. But through the years, because I've been so open about it, and I'll link a video below about how to come out about bipolar, but I literally tell everyone now because they're like,
Oh, what do you do for work?
and I'm like, YouTube, and they're like,
what do you make videos about?
and I'm like, bipolar disorder and Catholicism. The first time I'm meeting someone at a party, my Uber drivers, strangers, and all the time someone is like,
Oh, I'm bipolar too.
or like,
My girlfriend's bipolar.
or,
My dad has bipolar.
and I literally have met so many bipolar people or people who are close to someone with bipolar, and through the years, some of my close friends and acquaintances have actually been diagnosed and I've helped them get diagnosed. And then obviously through my YouTube channel too, I have this huge community of bipolar people. Through the years, if you're open and trusting with other people about it, you will meet so many bipolar people and you'll realize that you are not at all alone. Number 5, so back in 2016, I hated so much that I had to keep up with this perfect lifestyle where I had to work out every single day because if you didn't know, doing cardio every single day majorly gets rid of bipolar symptoms, and then having a consistent sleeping cycle, getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night, and then eating healthy all the time. All of that helps so much. But at that age, when you just finished being a teenager and you're in your very early 20s, the fact that you can't stay out late because you have to go to bed early and you have to wake up early in the morning to work out or whatever you fit in your 30-minute hour workout. But now I think it's amazing because I'm bipolar. It motivates me so hard to be in super good shape with my body and to eat so healthy. The reason I started working out again in 2015 when I first had depression but not diagnosed bipolar was because of the depression. So I started working out every single day. And I even found veganism because I was desperate to make my health perfect to help with all my symptoms. And so now, being vegan, working out every day, going on my runs every day, it's one of my absolute favorite parts of my life, getting to cook vegan and getting to work out all the time. It's just like so core to my identity, and the fact that I'm kind of forced to because I have to for my bipolar, it's great because so many people, it's like,
Oh, I don't want to work out today.
but for me, it's like, if I don't work out today, I will have slight depression tomorrow or manic breakthrough symptoms. So it forces you to be super healthy. Number 6, so this is the most shocking one. I do not miss mania. I do not want to be manic or even hypomanic or even have manic breakthrough symptoms. I do not crave that. I am completely content and happy and grateful with less emotions, less creativity, less empathy, less impulsivity, all of the symptoms of mania. I am perfectly fine with not experiencing them for the rest of my life. it actually feels so freeing living in this emotional equilibrium and not experiencing those intense highs of so much pleasure and passion. If you would have told me 5 years ago, even a year and a half ago, that I would get to a point where I'm not addicted to the mania anymore and I don't miss it and I don't want to go off meds to go manic, I would have thought that was literally impossible, because I always viewed bipolar as a drug addiction to the mania. But the longer you're on meds and the longer you're not manic and the longer that you realize that your life is so much easier without the manic symptoms, you just get used to life in a more equilibrium essence. Number 7, you can get to a point where you're not constantly going off meds. So I'm serious what I said at the beginning of the video, where I would go off my bipolar meds every 6 months, 5 times. For years, I was going off my meds every 6 months, ditching my psychiatrist, and then I would be off meds for like 5 to 8 months. And that was just life. And I thought I would never get to a point where I would just be able to stay on meds. But I have been on meds successfully, never gone off, for the past 3 years, going strong. I will most likely have to go off my bipolar meds to get pregnant, so during pregnancy, and then post-pregnancy if I want to breastfeed. So that's the only time that I will be going off my bipolar meds, and I can guarantee at the end of the pregnancy, I will be so stoked and excited to go back to being medicated. Number 8. I found meaning in my wounds and within my pain. I have been able to help hundreds of thousands of people with bipolar disorder through my YouTube videos. I've made over 70 videos talking about bipolar disorder, and I've read through hundreds of DMs, messages, emails, comments of people telling me their personal stories and how much my videos have helped them to seek a diagnosis, get on meds, repair relationships, and even save people from committing suicide. I also receive so many messages from people who are married to someone who is bipolar, their child has bipolar, their friend is bipolar. They watch my videos too, I message them back, and I've even saved marriages that there was going to be a divorce going on, and because I've communicated with the partner of the person who's bipolar, they've been able to reconcile and understand the symptoms and help that person get treatment. If I went back to my younger self at 21, who'd just been diagnosed with bipolar and gone through depression for a year, if I told her this, she would be so angry and feel invalidated and hate me. But I would go through 10 times the amount of depression and pain, suicidal ideation, all of that. I would go through 10 times worse for the amount of impact I've been able to have. I've been a Christian all my life, and since I was a little girl, I remember praying all the time that God would use me to help people who are hurting and give them hope within brokenness. And I never ever expected that the answer to those prayers would be literally torturing me mentally and emotionally. But 5 years later, when I look back on all those videos I've made, all of the pain is worth it. Number 9, I am no longer scared that I will kill myself. I had such intense thoughts of suicide ideation, and it wasn't just voices in my head wanting me to kill myself, but it was logically thinking through reasons why I would want to, and just the fact that there's a 1 in 2 suicide attempt rate and then a 1 in 4 rate of people actually killing themselves. And so just the statistics, I just thought of myself as another number, and it was just so likely that I would be one of those people who made that choice. And I'll link below some videos I've made about how I got through suicidal thoughts and just hope for anyone who's going through that. But I have so many reasons to live, and I've just realized that even when I'm in crippling depression, there's a bug. Even when I am in crippling depression and rock bottom, I'm still able to love the people in my life, and I want to live for all my friends and family and my fiance, even if I'm at rock bottom, I still want to continue living. This will be an upcoming video why I used to be scared of having children, but one of the reasons is I thought that as a mother, I might take myself out of the world, and I'm not at all worried about that anymore, and I can say so confidently that I will be part of that 50% that never attempts suicide. Number 10, wanting to have children. So like I said, this is going to be an entire video, but I remember probably the first 6 months of being diagnosed, I decided I am never having kids. I will adopt kids, but there's no way that I will have biological children because there is a 1 in 4 chance of passing on bipolar disorder to your children. Over time, I realized that if one of my children does have bipolar, or if I adopt a child who's bipolar, I will be the absolute best mom to a child who's bipolar. I will be able to recognize the symptoms starting in infancy. Obviously, you wouldn't know 100%, but all of growing up, there will be little signs that they might be bipolar. As a teenager, I would get them into a psychiatrist, therapist, get an official diagnosis. Because certain medications work on me, that means that genetically they are also more likely to work on my biological children. So they wouldn't be constantly trying to find meds that work for them. And they would not live through crippling depression. The reason that I went through so much trauma was because I wasn't diagnosed bipolar for years. If I had known I was bipolar earlier on, like in high school or beginning of college, it would have saved me from all of the torture and all of the trauma I went through. There definitely will be some pain and brokenness that they'll experience, but they'll have me to empathize and to share about that with and to understand every single emotion they're going through. Okay, so I hope you guys love this video. I know anyone who's newly diagnosed bipolar, this probably would be a horrible video for them to watch because they feel so invalidated, but after 5 years, I do get to make a happy video about everything that has changed. I love you guys so much. I will link below and in the end screen the link to all my videos about bipolar disorder. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!